Since 2010, Bell Let's Talk Days shone the light on mental health across the country, and today our Mike Siona is checking in on how Saskatchewan's doing, and he joins us now. Mike, good morning.
Good morning indeed. It is Bell Let's Talk Day, and we are down here at the SHA offices with Jennifer Skaken. Jennifer, let's talk about Saskatchewan. Here we are 16 years into this Bell Let's Talk Day initiative. Where have we come from as a province in terms of mental health?
Well, mental health, I think that mental health rates are continuing to sort of rise and escalate, particularly in Saskatchewan, but throughout Canada as a whole. Generally, when we're looking at the population, anywhere like 1 in 5 or 20% of our population are experiencing some sort of mental health concern in any typical given year. If we look at Saskatchewan, those rates are really escalated. So our rates of anxiety and depression, anxiety has tripled, depression has doubled, and so rates are really increasing, and so it's a pretty big concern. When you think about our population, if we have 41 million people in Canada, and you think about a 20% ratio or 1 in 5, so we're looking at like about 8 million people in any given year are struggling with some sort of mental health concern.
And trying to normalize that, I think, has been something that's been really kind of a critical component to the Bell Let's Talk Day initiative and the movement. Are we still seeing maybe still some unreported stuff as well?
Oh, for sure we are. I know when we look at for example, rates of suicide. So in Canada, anywhere like it's 11 to 13 people complete a suicide or die by suicide each day. And that's really sort of what we would call the tip of the iceberg. So that we know for suicide behavior or a completed reported statistic like a death, that the number is much vaster than that. And so if we have 4,000 completed suicides in Canada in a year, it's probably more like 2 million people that are actually thinking of suicide or having suicidal thoughts or even engaging in suicidal behaviors. And that sort of stuff may or may not end up presenting to hospital for support, and it may not be reported. And a lot of times suicide behavior or suicide deaths can be reported as something else just because of stigma, and people are concerned about the reporting, and so it kind of gets reported as something else.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Certainly not a light topic for us to delve into, but a very important and poignant one, and we'll continue to discuss all morning long here on Bell Let's Talk Day.
All right, since 2010, Bell Let's Talk Day has donated over $184 million towards mental health in Canada. So let's talk to Mike Siona now to see how things have changed over those 16 years. Mike?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're down here at the SHA with Jennifer Skaken, and we are talking about how initiatives like Bell Let's Talk Day have kind of changed perceptions and landscapes. Have we seen in these last 16 years, and not just attributed to Bell Let's Talk Day, but a shift in terms of the landscape on stigma?
Yes, I think so. I think that mental health is viewed more now as part of health, not like where people used to really think more about mental illness, but it's really seen as part of health, and it is. And so it's important that people take care of their health just like they would take care of their physical health. When I think of an initiative like the Bell Let's Talk Day, when these initiatives run, there's all kinds of sort of information that's sort of flooding, social media, on TV, all those things. And so if even one person can pick up a crisis hotline number, either, on the screen today across the TV, or they see something on Facebook because there's posts about Bell Let's Talk, that has the potential to save someone's life. And so I think that's really important. And it does change how people view it. The more we talk about it, the better it gets, for sure.
Exactly. I remember, many years ago now, when this was kind of still in its infancy, the Let's Talk program, it was, that analogy, you could see a cast, but you can't see a mental illness. And now we've shifted more to that mental health component, because it doesn't have to be dire at the edge of it to be something that's impactful.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about those statistics, when we're talking about 2 million people in Canada that might be struggling with mental health, some of those people, it's more minor issues with their mental health, but they've got something going on. And then at the other end, we would have people who have something more severe or extreme going on. And we've shifted that lens to understand that it's a bit more about everybody, and it can happen to anyone.
No doubt about it. And so many different ways to care for your mental health, right?
Absolutely. I think when it's the same things your doctor would tell you, the things that we eat, the more that we move our bodies, the more that we get outside, the more that we're talking with people and connecting, all of those things, they impact our mental health as well as our physical health, and they just make us better, kind of more well-rounded and overall.
Fantastic. I love that. Well, we're out of time for this particular hit, Jeremy, but that's okay. We'll be back one more time this morning. We're going to talk about maybe what's next as we shift and look more to the future.
All right, Mike, that's what it's all about. Keep talking. We'll have more information on resources and how you can support Bell Let's Talk over at letstalk.bell.ca. Let's catch up with Mike Siona once again. He's sporting his Bell Let's Talk blue today. Mike.
Well, we are talking on this Bell Let's Talk Day about mental health. I'm here with Jennifer Skaken, as we have been all morning long. And we've talked about the past, we've talked about the present. We kind of want to talk about the future. And as I understand it, the initiatives that are currently going into the future are kind of in a little 5-year window here.
Yeah, for sure. So the Mental Health Action Plan, that sort of spans 23 to 28, is in progress. And some tangible things that we can feel already would be wellness buses that are located in our major cities. So Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert all have a wellness bus, and they have a mental health assessor coordinator embedded in that team. And so walk-in traffic can approach the bus and be very quickly assessed and linked to our different mental health resources, as well as those of our CBO partners. Another initiative that we're already sort of feeling would be a provincial centralized intake team. So we have local intake teams in our major centres as well, which work really well. But if we can broaden that out broad scale for provincial, then it would be much more seamless for patients or clients or people accessing the public accessing services to kind of figure out, where do I go, how do I find the services that I need? And then for the staff on the inside, it's more of a central hub, so it's also much more streamlined how they would connect people with resources as well.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially when you consider, just the massive geographical challenges that are present in the province. I mean, you mentioned the health bus in the more major centers, but mental health doesn't care where you live.
Absolutely, and I believe it's something like 37% of Saskatchewan residents live in the rural areas, and so we need to have a way that you can connect to any of those different areas and any of those resources. Clearly, we can't put services in all the areas, and so we need to know, how do we get those people connected to the services that they need when they need them.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. It has been a wonderful, wonderful morning down here. We've learned a lot. We're continuing the discussion. We hope that you do as well on this Bell Let's Talk Day 2026.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Since 2010, Bell Let's Talk Day has raised more than $184 million for mental health in Canada. And for more information on resources or how you can support, head to letstalk.bell.ca.